What's up? What's up? What's up?
Welcome to Talk with Tay.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Talks with Tay. I'm your host, Taylor, also known as Tay, also known as T. It does not really matter to me. We are back with another episode, back with another conversation. I am so happy you decided to join me here on Talks with Tay. We talk about any and everything, all things growing, all things healing, all things evolving. We're going to get into it right here. Y'all, I'm excited. As you can see, we're not sitting down today. We're standing up. We on the move. So I may be here for the whole video. I may not be. You never know. Knowing myself, I'm probably gonna move because people make me nervous. So, y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all doing good today? Y'all, this heat wave has been insane. It's been crazy. I can't go to hell. I don't want to go to hell. If I don't gotta be outside, I'm outside. But I came outside for y'all today because we talk about something specific today. Y'all see these bridges? Be the bridge. All right, y'all. So let's hop right into it. So even this is uncomfortable for me because there's people walking past. They can see, but shoot, maybe somebody needs to hear the gospel. I don't know. But I guess this is a part of the 60 days preparation. Walk in boldness, Taylor. Be bold. So there was a moment where I was silent. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if my feelings, if how I felt was okay. In regards to what God was saying to me, I just kind of just was quiet because, like I said, I didn't have the words. I was trying to process what he was saying. I was trying to wrap my mind around it. I was even waiting to see if, I don't want to say my mind would change, but waiting to see if there would be like a sense of okayness, like if my spirit would settle, in whatever he was saying. So I just sat and wait, and I had to be honest, just like, God, why did you make me so different? Why do I have such different interests? Why has it been this way from since I can remember? And I wasn't saying it in aggravation or frustration. It was like a genuine conversation with my father. Like, why am I so different? So I'm like washing dishes or whatever, and I literally just heard bridge. Bridge. Something I say, I don't think I say it every episode, but when we end our conversations with God, I say I was born to stand in the gap. I was born to intercede. I was born to be in the middle. And I wholeheartedly believe that. So when he said bridge, I'm like, okay, he's created me to stand in the gap for people, for places, for groups. So if you haven't seen, on my Instagram, I'm starting a series, What Do You Believe? How this came about was just me thinking about all the different beliefs that are in the world today, right? Not solely based on the different religions, but even the beliefs inside of one religion. And I was just curious, like, what do you believe? Because I had to sit and ask myself, all right, Taylor, what do you believe? I grew up in church, right? I wasn't the churchiest kid, like, at all. It's like you would wonder, like, it's how you went to church. I feel like you couldn't tell unless I said it. So I know I grew up with it Pentecostal. Cool. So now I'm asking myself the questions. All right, what are your beliefs? What do you believe? Right? If somebody was to come and ask you, what do you believe? Do you have an answer for them? Are you just gonna say I'm this? Okay, but what does that mean? Because everybody doesn't know what that means. And then for a couple of weeks, this has been on my mind from a few conversations that I've listened to and that I've had, where different beliefs have come up, right? So I was listening to a podcast, and they didn't even talk about it. Literally, the words just came up, and that's where I paused it, And I literally started to dive into it because I'm just like, I gotta know this. Like I would not let it rest. I called my mom, I called a friend, I talked to my cousin. I was just like, I can't sit on this. I don't know why. It's like something is stirring up on me. So they was talking about like a little bit of a difference between apostolic and Church of God in Christ or whatever. Like I said, they did not dive deep into it at all. It was literally just came up and then they left the topic, right? But for some reason, I couldn't let it go. And before this conversation, I was having a conversation with my sister. Yeah, I was just telling her, like, because I know where I'm going, I know I'm going to be communicating the gospel. Look at me still not saying a word. I know I'm going to be communicating the gospel, right? And I was just saying, I can't communicate it to everybody the same. I can't use the same tone of voice. The message in its entirety may not change, but what I would say to one group of people is probably not something I would say to another group of people, because one, everybody needs something different. It is based on culture, it is based on your environment, it is based on where you are now in life, and that's something I'm learning. But I'm just like, even to evangelizing, the way I would talk to a Christian, someone, let's say someone who grew up in church, I wouldn't talk to them the same way I would talk to a Buddhist, or I wouldn't talk to a Buddhist the same way I talk to a Muslim. I'm starting to dive deeper into this because one, I can't go into it. I can't go into these conversations ignorant. Now, do I know everything? No. Even this, so this conversation here is literally me walking y'all through my process, me walking y'all through my thoughts. I don't know everything, and that's why I'm just like, Taylor, you girl. So I'm not coming to y'all as if I know everything, because I don't. I feel like, quite frankly, I don't know anything. But like I said, in this 60 days, we're preparing as if we're already in that position, right? So I'm diving deeper into these things or whatever. What do people believe? What is the reason you believe why you believe? You know, why do you believe in Confucius? Or why do you believe that there's no God at all? Or if you want to like go into Christianity, why are you apostolic? Why are you Pentecostal? Why are you Baptist? Why are you non-denominational? And I feel like a lot of stuff is kind of chaotic now, and things are getting scrambled up because people don't really know what they believe. One, I'm just curious. Literally, somebody on my Instagram, because I posted the video on TikTok and on Instagram. Somebody on my TikTok commented, was just like, do you really want to know what people believe, or are you just trying to enter conversation so you can convert them to what you believe? And I commented because one, I'm learning not to run away from confrontation or conflict, not only on social media but in my life period, with friends, with family, not running from conflict. So and also learning how to respond in a nice way instead of just telling somebody to shut up. Right? So I commented and I was just like, nah, I actually want to know. Like, I'm actually curious as to why you believe what you believe. Now, do I want to lead people to Jesus? Absolutely. Do I want to spread the gospel? Absolutely. But I also know that every conversation I have is not to convert. Sometimes it's okay with just planting a seed, or sometimes it's okay with just having a conversation, because I also understand that sometimes the only Bible people are going to read is you. So if I come to a person with understanding, and if I come to a person with kindness, and I never mention a scripture, it's like God is so good that He will like literally plant a seed with that, for me just being obedient, for me just being kind, for me just being a nice person, right? So I said that. So I was like, nah, I don't like. I said no. Like I do want to know. Is it my goal that people come to Jesus? Yes. but I also understand every conversation will not be me necessarily like witnessing. It is important. That's why it's also important that my life alone is a witness. If I never say anything to anybody, how did I treat them? If I never say anything to anybody when they saw me, or when they walked past me, how was I acting? Was I a good representation of Jesus? So, basically, to her point, it's not that I want to know what you believe so I could tell you my beliefs and my way is right, but it's literally to know, because what you tell me, maybe it can help me in another conversation with somebody else. You feel me? So it's just like no, I'm not trying to go and hit people over the head with the Bible. That's not my goal. But will I be elated if somebody comes to Jesus? Absolutely. Because the truth of the matter is he changed my life. The truth of the matter is I believe he's the only way. So it's just like, if somebody does, I'm happy. If a seed is just planted, I'm happy. If I treated somebody with kindness, I'm happy. Like, I'm happy with that, right? But like, yes, I will be more ecstatic if they come to Christ, right? So so all of these thoughts are just rising, like rising in my head, the curiosity and all the things. Ew. I think I just saw two birds mating, and I don't know how to feel about that, like right next to me. Let me tell y'all something about these New York pigeons. They not scared no more. Literally, one is like 2 feet away from me. And I don't know how to feel about that. It distracted me, OD. But anyway, it's like a burden to learn, a burden to study, to really understand different beliefs other than my own. I think it's important for where God has taken me, because, like I said in the beginning, I was just like, God, why am I so different? I think from since I can remember, I just always felt different, and not in a sense of I stuck out like a sore thumb, because I wasn't. I was quiet. I was quiet. I was quiet. Also, when somebody talked to me, I spoke up. Like, if somebody would talk to me, then I would talk back. Like, it wouldn't be weird, right? So it was just like, it's not that I didn't. It's not that I didn't fit in, because, like I said, I think I was always a likable one, because one, I wasn't extremely opinionated, but I also was mad cool. But I would say, in myself, I've always felt different. Like, I've never could get close with any group that I was in because I felt different. Although I had similarities, there was something in me that was just like, why are you, like, you're so different still. So on my on all my basketball teams, as far as what I was feeling, no, I felt different. When I would be in my music groups, I felt different. Bro, when I would go to church, I felt different. I felt different in my family. Like, in every single space I was in, I felt different. And like I said, it's not that I stuck out like a sore thumb. It was just like, on the inside of me, I was just like, I'm not connecting the way I feel like I should be with anybody, right? I didn't get a best friend until my sophomore year, end of freshman into sophomore year of college, right? And the crazy thing, we were still so different. Like, we were like, that's the thing. Like, we were the opposite, right? So like, it took me that long to even come into a close relationship like that. But I think even then, our differences kind of led to separation. Do I think our differences were necessary for at that time? Yes, because I would have never came to Christ. Even our differences, amongst other things, led to there being a separation there. But and then there's me now. Oh, that's insane. It's like I've always felt that difference. So now being where I am now, being saved, being in ministry, I still, I can't say that I've found a connection, because boom, I grew up Pentecostal, and then I went to college, and then my sophomore year, because I ain't go to church freshman year, I was wilding. My sophomore year, I started going to church, and we went to a Kojic church. So you know them; they're very charismatic, very energetic, just very high, and so was my church, but not to that extent, I would say. And then, kind of after the pandemic, I started watching like apostolic churches, right? And then specifically, there's one church with Big Ref. If y'all see this, I'm a E member, right? Apostolic. Now I still have my church on Sunday, which is Kojic. Now that I'm back home, I do go to my home church a little bit more, which is Pentecostal. So that's three places, which is already a different situation, Taylor. Like that's three churches pouring into you, which I don't know, right? It is what it is. They're all feeding some way or another, right? So that's three different denominations, if you want to, if you say it right. So, and mind you, I did not think about any of this before. None of this was a thought to me. Like your three different denominations, your da da da. None of it was a thought to me until recently, until I started diving. And so like little seeds were planted. I'm just like, I gotta notice, right? When I'm at my home church, I feel different. When I'm my church on Sundays, I feel like one, we're online, so it's kind of hard. um, but when I say the big gatherings, I feel extremely out of place, right? And then there's Apostolic Church, where just a little bit more different. But then there's non-denominational speakers and people that I listen to that I resonate with, but I'm just like, I'm also different, right? Where do I fit in, right? And like this morning when I heard bridge, I said, okay, I get it. I'm not different just to be different. I haven't experienced so many things just because. So when I hear bridge, I'm just like, okay, I was born to bridge these gaps. How can we all be connected? How can we all work together? How can we bridge the young with the old? How can we bridge tradition but also be modern? How can we bridge it all? Um, and is it an easy task? Absolutely not. That's on God. I'm just like, God, I don't understand how we're supposed to do this, right? So even you, like whatever it is that you do, there is a way that you can use that to bridge something else, to bridge a relationship, to bridge a family, to bridge a group of people, to bridge different races. There is something that you have that you can use as a bridge. But walking here, I saw I saw the bridges at one time. I saw the Brooklyn Bridge, I saw the Manhattan Bridge, and I even saw the Williamsburg Bridge. And I immediately was just like, these are all totally different bridges, but all of them can get you to and from the same place. They're different bridges and they're not together, but all of them can get you from Brooklyn to Manhattan, from Manhattan to Brooklyn. So you don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to do what somebody else is doing. Just be a bridge. Use whatever it is that you're doing to be a bridge. to bridge your family together, to bridge your church together, to bridge people of different backgrounds together. We all don't have to do the same thing. So just because I said I felt different and you felt different, that still doesn't mean that we're meant to do the same thing. You may not be meant to stand behind the desk and holler. You may not be meant to take a mic and just shout, yeah, like that may not be your thing. You may not be meant to just stand stand in front of a group of people. And some of you may not meant to stand in the background. We're all not meant to be in the same place. But I feel like if we can come to what we believe, and I'm talking about now as believers, if we can all get into what we believe, I feel like so many bridges can be built that will fill the gap to take us from one place to the next. And like I said, it might be the same destination, but we'll get there differently. So I think that's where even respect comes in. That's where you have to know what you know and know that you know it. So that's why I want to dive into what do you believe? So basically, how this came to me, be the bridge. It's just like whatever it is that you do, it can be used as a bridge, right? And something that really stood with me is just like we're so, and this is why I'm curious to know what people believe in everything. What do you believe? Because like we get so caught up in our own stuff. We get so caught up in the way we think things should be done and so caught up in what we're used to. When I just feel like if we step out of that, the places we can go, because I'm a Christian, because I'm in the church, obviously I'm more knowledgeable on this topic, and which is why I'm interested into learning about other religions, right? It doesn't mean that I'm converting. There's only one way. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I'm converting, but I'm curious to know. Let's talk church for a minute. I feel like there are some older generations, they stand firm. They are unshakable and unmovable. You can't tell them nothing. They're not moving. And they're just like, let's use an example. Let's say somebody says, don't bring rap into the church. Okay, now let's look outside of the four walls of the church. There's this individual, right? They went to church before, right? But somebody was so mean to them, or they experienced something, or they saw something, and they ain't never stepping into a building again, let alone that church. They ain't stepping foot into no other building again. But they love music, right? Now there's a Christian rapper. This person hears their song. The beat speaks to them, the lyrics speak to them, the melody speaks to them. And now they want to get to know this God that this person is rapping about, right? So they give church a try one more time because they're not being taught. They didn't grow up in the church or whatever. So they step into a church one more time and they have another bad experience, right? Now this rap song ministered to them and kind of led them to the church. And they had another bad experience, right? Now guess what? They definitely not stepping back into the church building because the church ain't know how to act. So now they're listening to this newfound rap, this Christian rap, this new artist, right? And it's really ministering to them. But you were so bent on not bringing rap into the church. They heard you say that. Now they confused. I felt God in this, but you're telling me God is not in this. Where is the evidence that he's not in it? Where's the proof that he's not in it? And people also something that has stuck out to me. When you watch TV, right, and you see a scene with a church or a show that surrounds church, it is the most drama you will ever see, bro. And sometimes I sit back and laugh because do they drag it a little bit? Yes. But there's a lot. I feel like they drag probably 10. It's so sad that they probably drag 10% of it, but the other 90% is dead true. They are literally filming and reenacting what they know church to be. Bro, you go into church. This is what the writer, the filmer, the producer has seen. They went to church and they saw the pastor. He preached a good word, have the people feeling good. But then they see eventually, wait, you told me to be faithful and you cheating on your wife? That's what they're seeing and that's what they're putting in the shows. The praise and worship leader, yo, you singing down. What? The riffs, the runs, you singing down. You got the people laid out. But wait, a few hours after church, I saw you on the corner cussing everybody out. And not know you slipped up. You was clean cussing folk out. That's what they see. That elder, bro, he be praying down. What? Have the people feeling real good. And then you just like, wait, why when she walked past, like her body tense up and she looks super uncomfortable. And they look and it's just like, oh, cause he's a pervert. Right? So I'm just like I can't even be mad at it when that's what's happening. Like I can't even be mad. Do I feel a type of way? Yes, because every church is not like that. Every church is not like that. Every church does not do that. But I can't tell you the amount of conversations I have had with people who went to church, whether they grew up, whether they started going, who was going, and they said, "Nah, I just can't get with it because of how people treat me, or I just can't get with it because they saying one thing in a pulpit and they going to live a totally different life." And that doesn't mean that we all won't fall and that we all won't mess up. We all fall short every day. But you deliberately going back to your vomit and then standing in a pulpit, standing in front of people, singing, preaching, ushering, I don't care what it is. And you are literally going back to your vomit. How is that a good representation of God? How do you expect people to depict the church if that's what we're doing? I don't know how we got here, but I guess it all ties in with bridging the gap. Stop telling people that their creativity is wrong. I think, is it our job to lead and guide and correct? Yes, but everything is not wrong. And I feel like God knows who to put in certain positions. God knows who he can trust and to do certain things. Like I'll speak for myself. Like because I can be in different environments and adapt, I feel like God can trust me with certain assignments. Now, was I always like this? No, because I grew up in a church, no earrings, no pants, no piercings. If you had a piercing, it was only one hole. And when we had to sing in the choir, we had to take them out. No red lipstick, no heavy makeup, no hoops. I grew up like that, right? When I started playing the piano, because I didn't start playing until very late, I had got my nose pierced, right? And I had a hoop in, and I was got on because I had my hoop in. And mind you, I done forgot about everything they said. I done been gone. I done been on my own. It was like whatever. And it was a big deal that I had my hoop in. And then I got to a point where it was just like I kind of moved in rebellion a little bit. I was just like, you know what? Bet you want to talk about the hoop? Now guess what? Now I'm wearing pants too, and I'm not playing on purpose. But I've gotten to a place where I understand that being in the middle also comes with you having to adapt. Being in the middle also comes with you having to sacrifice. So if I play in a certain type of church, now I have never took out my nose piercing, my nose ring, period, right? But if I know I'm playing at a church, I'll put one of my smaller studs in instead of wearing a hoop or wearing a big one. I'll put a stud in. I have a lot of earrings. I won't wear the biggest earrings. Like I said, I haven't gotten to a place where I take them out. Now, if I do get to, and if there's a place where it's just like we need you to take that out, my thing is I will do it now. I'll do it now before I wouldn't do it, because I'm just like, you will take me as I am. God loves me like this. You'll be fine, right? But I also understand being in the middle, being a bridge, also comes with a certain level of responsibility, a certain level of maturity, right? I feel like, because let's keep it a stack. Being in, when I say I was born to stand in the gap, I accept being an intercessor. Like I'll take that one, right? And I feel like one of the greatest intercessors in the Bible is Moses. One, because he had to. The people couldn't go to God for themselves, right? Moses would go to God on behalf of his people and tell God what they're complaining about, tell God what they need or whatever, and God would do it. And then Moses would go back to them. They would see what God had done, but then they would still be ungrateful. They would still be ungrateful. God, deliver us from this. Deliver us from Egypt. God does it. He's just like, well, God, we thirsty. What are we gonna drink? Moses goes, whatever, whatever. God, we're hungry. Moses goes to whatever, whatever. And they still complaining. So Moses had to have a certain level of maturity, a certain level of patience. Because yo, imagine going to God on behalf of these people, bro. You laboring, because it's not easy. You laboring and you going back to a complaining people. All I to say, like, it takes maturity to stand in the gap. It's a responsibility to stand in the gap. It's a responsibility to be a bridge. So there are certain environments where you will have to adapt. You will have to be able to change a couple things. When I play in certain places, I can't wear pants. I don't wear the hoop nose ring. Um, I don't really cover up my tattoos, because they're not that big. But I'm gonna keep it up. I personally want more tattoos, and I'm gonna try to get one. But a part of me feels like the Lord is going to say no, not because it's sinful, but because of the environments where He will put me in. Unfortunately, in order to bridge the gap, that means you're going to have to be in a place where there is a gap. Meaning there's some places who are still no tattoos, no piercings, no pants. There are still some places like that. And in order to get the message across, it is my responsibility. I will have to have the level of maturity to be like, okay, just so somebody is not offended. That's something that the evangelist was talking about, and I love the evangelist. That's something that evangelist Shekinah was talking about in Heart Check Part 1. If me doing this, that, and the third, although it may not be me and I may not agree with it, me doing this, that, and the third, if doing this doesn't offend somebody so they can receive my message or receive Christ's message, if doing this will get them to hear it, so be it. I'll take the piercing out. I'll make sure the tattoos are covered up, right? And it's going into a more relaxed environment where I can wear all of this, right? I'm not gonna wear the churchiest dress I have where they wear pants and stuff, right? I'm not gonna do too much. You don't want to be turned off because of your appearance. It takes knowledge, it takes a level of maturity, and it takes patience to bridge the gap, because you can't bring the same thing you would bring to one place, you can't bring to the other. Let's talk sports, because there's a gap that needs to be bridged there too. Because y'all know you know basketball.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Playing basketball is gonna send me to hell. What? Now, because I've had some conversations with a couple people, I see where they was coming from. It was more so of anything that anything in a secular place where you can be led astray, where the music is secular or people are doing secular things, anything around that, guard yourself. Just don't do it, so you don't even have to fight it off, type of thing. But that's what I got with some of the conversations. But some people were just that is not what they just know basketball. But anyway, the way I would communicate basketball play, I need you to execute this, that, and the third this way, is not the same way I would communicate a play to a football player. In order to bridge that, I would have to come up with something that made sense to both of them, and taking some of what both of them know and putting it together. What's something similar that they have? Defense and offense. Something similar that they have. Don't let the other team score. But they also don't have the same rules. In basketball, it's 2 points or 3 points or 1 point. And football, which I still don't understand, some is 7 points. I think some are 6 points. I think some you get like two. Football is like insane to me. But how to bridge those gaps so that both parties understand. The way you would talk to a 40-year-old and break down something is not the same way you would tell it to a 5-year-old. You have to tell it to them in a way they can understand it. So if I come to a 5-year-old with a certain tone of voice and this huge vocabulary, they're immediately going to turn me off and walk away. When I would talk to my pre-Kers, if I was saying something that just didn't make sense to me, or they would literally just walk away. And that's what happens when you go to a people with what you know and what you know alone. They turn you off. So when I went to pre-K, it was after I was already with the bigger kids for a long period of time. So I came to pre-K, kind of communicating how I would talk to the fifth graders or the fourth graders, trying to communicate the same thing with the pre-Ks, and it didn't work because they did not reach that level of understanding yet. So I had to figure out a way to speak to them in a way that they understood. Or then when I go to the big kids, I can't talk to the big kids the same way that I talked to the pre-Kers, because they were like, why are you talking to us like babies? And then they would turn me off. Although I was trying to communicate the same message, I had to do it differently. Although I need both parties to behave and do what needed to be done and get their work done, I had to communicate it differently so they could understand. It was me bridging the gap. And then there would be times where we would bring all of the grades together, which is more challenging. Now I'm not underestimating the difficulty of this. But when we will bring all grades together, now I have to communicate in a way that all of them will understand. So I'm not repeating myself 150 times. And a way we did that sometimes was getting the older kids to communicate certain things to the younger kids. One, so they don't get frustrated of how long it may take the younger kids to get. And then also having the younger kids imitate what the older kids were doing. So in order to bridge the gap, in order to be a bridge, you have to have different strategies. Here we go, we're getting into it. It is important that you have different strategies in order to convey your message. So boom, if we want to get back into the religion of everything, right? A person who lives in boom, we all live in a chaotic world, right? But in a person who lives in chaos and things are just hectic, right? And you can see that they need peace, we can say to them, God is a God of peace. He'll give you peace that surpasses all understanding. It'll guard your heart and mind. Trust him, and he'll give you peace in the storm. We can say that to them. But say we go to a Buddhist who is in the same chaos as environment wise in hectic or whatever, I can't go to them with that because they've already found peace. Although it's artificial, they're just like, well, my God, who is Buddha or whatever, I'm good on peace. So I don't really need anything else, right? I have to have another strategy. Although God is a God of peace, that's the truth. I can't say that to them because they already got peace. I can't, the same way I would talk to a struggling single mother, it's not the way I could talk to a Muslim brother. Because to keep it a buck, Muslims take care of each other. Bro, in the Islam religion, they take care of each other. They make sure each other is straight. So the way I would communicate to a single mother is not the way I can communicate to them. Let's keep it a stuck. Keep it a stack. The way I communicate in a community with surrounded by the P's, the projects, is not the same way I could communicate if I go into a community of wealth. Bro, I went to Dubai. Bro, that's like one of the wealthiest places ever, bro. Their taxi is a Benz. The same way I would communicate something to someone who is in poverty, it's not the same way I would communicate to somebody with wealth. You have to come up with different strategies. So although you're gifted in a certain area, how can your gift become a bridge? You can't be so stuck in your way that you are unable to adapt. You can't be so stuck in your ways that you're not willing to adapt. And I feel like that's the problem that we're running into. Everybody is so stubborn and so selfish that they're not willing to see somebody else. They're not willing to hear somebody else. And I'm not saying you have to agree with that person. Be a bridge. You feel the way you feel for a reason. You were gifted with what you were gifted with for a reason. Whatever it is for a reason. If it's to reach one person, it's for a reason. If it's to lift one person up, it's for a reason. Everything that you go through is for a reason, right? And as a believer, like, God has a purpose for all of this. Everything that I went through, everything that I've endured, my gifts, my callings, it is all for a purpose higher than me. It is all for His purpose, for His glory. Everything has a purpose. You don't feel different just because. It's because there's something on the inside of you that somebody needs that will save their life. There's something that you can do. There's an idea that you have. There's something that you created that is going to change somebody's life, that is going to save somebody's life. I can't just sit on what I have, because what I have is a bridge. How are the people in Brooklyn going to get to Manhattan without the bridge? If you sit on your gift, the bridge is never going to be built. And I know there's a jerk that's going to say, well, take the train or a boat. It's going to be, well, be a boat, be a train. But some way or another, there needs to be something in the middle so that people can cross from one side to another. And some of you started it, but you stopped. So now there's a certain people who are on the bridge that you started, but they can't go anywhere. So they're just stuck. They're either stuck or they're going back because you're sitting on whatever it is that you have. And there's some of you built your bridge, but you stopped pouring into that thing. So now your bridge is collapsing and people are falling because you're sitting on whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. Be a bridge. Build a bridge. Pour into your bridge, because there's a people that need to get from one point to another. And everybody can't swim. Everybody don't have a boat. Some people are going by foot, but they need a bridge. Some people can't get past their trauma and past their hurt. They need a bridge. Some people, they just can't, they can't see beyond their tradition. They need a bridge. Some people are so free and so liberal now that they just can't really get with rules and a couple of rules and a couple of regulations. They need a bridge. Certain religions, they're so bent and so stuck. They need a bridge. Certain ethnicities, they need a bridge. Certain cultures, they need a bridge. How can we all come together for this one goal? And let me be specific. Don't take my words out of context. Let me be specific. I believe there's one way. So now I'm in a place. How can I bridge so that we can all get to the same place? And like, everybody's not going to agree. Everybody's not going to convert. And the bridge is not meant for everybody. And that's the thing. Unfortunately, everybody's not going to cross the bridge. But for the ones that are willing, we got to build the bridge. So, with that being said, y'all, thank y'all for rocking out with me. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, tell your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, tell your ex. Maybe there'll be some godly reconciliation. I don't know. Tell whoever. I believe that once we all come into knowing what we believe, once we all come into really using our gifts and our purposes for the right reasons, I believe that more bridges will be built. And like I said, there's 3 different bridges here, but they all take you to the same location. Be a bridge. So as you know, we always end our conversations with a conversation with God. So, Father, first and foremost, we acknowledge who you are, your strength, your power, your deity, and your sovereignty, God. We thank you for this space. We thank you for this time. We thank you for this conversation. We thank you that we can be open and vulnerable and communicate our concerns, our questions, and our beliefs. We thank you that this is a non-judgmental space. We thank you that we are going to come into truth. We are going to come into knowledge. And most of all, we will come in to what we believe. It is imperative to know what we believe. And we thank you that you are going to show us exactly what it is that you want us to know. You are going to show us what it is that you want us to see. And God, for that, we are thankful. I am praying, God, that you lift whomever it is up, that you will encourage whomever is watching this video and let them know that you created them to stand in the gap. You created them to be a bridge. You created them to pour into the bridge already that has been built. May you give them their drive back. May you give them their push back. May you give them their tenacity back. May you give them their hustle back, that bridge can be built, because there is a people that need to get from one place to another. There is a people that need to meet in the middle. Unless the bridge is strong and unless the foundation is built, God, it is impossible. And we understand that you are our firm foundation. And if our hope and our dreams are built on you and our faith is built on you, we cannot be moved. So I am praying that each and every one who is watching this video, that you build the bridge that you were designed to build so that our people can be blessed. So God, we thank you for it and we praise you for it. Until next time, y'all. Peace.